Once hill tribes, the Kalabras had soon settled life, extending their patronage to Buddhists and Jains. Kadun Khan, who recovered Pandya territory from the Kalabras, according to copper plates, was succeeded by two others. Sendhan possessed warlike qualities, and his title Vanavan is suggestive of his conquest of Cheras. The next one, Arikesari Maravarman, an illustrious early Pandya, ascended the throne in 642. According to Vaigai, Vaigai inscription, he was a contemporary of Mahendravarman I and Narasimhavarman I. Inscriptions and copper plates praise his victory over his counterparts such as Cheras, Cholas, Pallavas, and Sinhalese. Arikesari is identified with Kun Pandian, the persecutor of Jains. After he after his uh, two successors, Kochadayan, Ranadira, and Maravarman, Rajasimha I came Jatila Parantaka Nedunjadayan, Varaguna I, the donor of the Velvikudi copper plates. He was also known as the greatest of his dynasty and successfully handled the Pallavas and the Cheras. He expanded the Pandya territory into Tanjavur, Tiruchi, Salem, and Coimbatore districts. He is also credited with building several Shiva and Vishnu temples. The next king, Sri Vallabha, invaded Ceylon and maintained his authority. However, he was subsequently defeated by Pallava Nandivarman III. He was followed by Maraguna II, who was defeated by Aparajita Pallava at Sripuram. We have his successor Parandaka Veeranarayana and Rajasimha II could not stand up to the rising Chola dynasty under Parantaka I. Parantaka I defeated the Pandya king Rajasimha II, who fled the country in 920 CE. Rise of Pandya Saga in 1190 to 1310. In the wake of the Vakam in the Chola state in the last quarter of the 12th century, after the demise of Adi Rajendra, Chola viceroyalty became weak in the Pandya country. Taking advantage of this developed Pandya chieftains tried to assert and rule independently. Sri Vallabha Pandyan fought Rajaraja II and lost his son in the battle. Using the situation, the five Pandyas waged a war against Kulothunga I and were defeated. Sadayavarman Sri Vallabhan, at the biggest of Kulothunga I, started ruling the Pandya territory. He was anointed in Madurai to commemorate his coronation. He converted a peasant settlement Sundaraja Cholapuram in Sundarachol Chaturvedi Mangalam, a tax-exempted village for Brahmins. After the decline of the Cholas, Pandya kingdom became the leading Tamil dynasty in the 13th century. Madurai was their capital. Kayal was their great port. Marco Polo, the famous traveler from Venice, visited Kayal twice in 1288 and 1293. It tells us that this port was full of ships from Arabia and China and bustling with business activities. The second Pandya kingdom was Sadayavarman Jatavarman Sundara Pandyan, who was only brought under the entire under his rule, but also exercised his authority up to Nellore in Andhra. Under his reign, the Pandya state reached its zenith when the Hoysalas in check. Under many of his inscriptions, he is eulogized. Sundara Pandyan conquered the Chera ruler, the chief of Malanadu, and extracted a tribute from him. The decline of the Chola state emboldened the Poja king of Malwa region, Veera Someshwara, to challenge the Sundara Pandyan, who in a war at Kannur defeated him. Sundara Pandyan plundered his territory. He put Sendamangalam under siege after defeating the Kadavas chief who ruled from Kadalur and wielded power in northern Tamil Nadu. Sundara Pandyan demanded tribute. He captured the western region and the area that lay between the present-day Arcot and Salem. After killing the king of Kanchipuram in a battle, Pandyas took the territory, but by submitting to the Pandyas, the brother of the slain king got back Kanchipuram. Along with him, there were three co-regents who ruled simultaneously: Vikrama Pandyan and Veera Pandyan. A record of Veera Pandyan states that he took Yelam, Ceylon, Konga, and the Chola Mandalam. Chola territory. Maravarman Kulasegaran. After Sundara Pandyan, Maravarman Kulasegaran ruled successfully for a period of 40 years, giving the country peace and prosperity. Authentic records about the last phase of his region. He ascended the throne in 1268, ruled till 1312. he had two sons, Maravarman Kulasegaran. He had two sons in 1302 with the accession of the elder son Jatavarma Sundrapandian III as co-regent took place. The king's appointment of Sundrapandian as a co-regent provoked the other son Veerapandian, and so he killed his father Maravarman Kulasegaran. In the civil war that ensued, Veerapandian won and became firmly established in his kingdom. The other son Sundrapandian fled to Delhi and took refuge under the protection of Alauddin Khalji. The turn of events provided an opening for the invention of Malik Kafur. When Malik Kafur arrived in Madurai in 1311, he found the city empty and Veerapandian had already fled. In Amir Khusro's estimate, 512 defense 5,000 officers, along with 500 mounds of jewels and diamonds, pearls, emeralds, and rubies are said to be taken by Malik Kafur. The Madurai temple was desecrated and an enormous amount of wealth was looted. The wealth he carried was later used in Delhi by Alauddin Khalji, who was then taken over the throne to win away the notables in the court to his side against other claimants. After Malik Kafur's invasion, the Pandyan kingdom came to be divided among a number of the main rulers of the Pandyas family. In Tadrai, Taslim state subordinate to the Delhi Sultan came to be established and continued until 1335 CE, when the Muslim governor of Madurai, Jalaluddin Hasan Shah, threw off his allegiance and declared himself independent. Pandya kings preferred Madurai as their capital. Madurai has been popularly venerated as Kudal and Tamil Kelu Kudal. The kings are traditionally referred to as Kudal, Kon Kudal, Nagar, Kavalan, Madhurapura, Parameswaran. The titles of the early Pandyas are Pandya, Yadarasan, Pandya, Maharasan, Mannar, Mannan, Mambi, Avaniba, Segaran, Yeka, Viran, Sagala Puvana, Chakravarti, and others. The Prime Minister was called Uttara Mantri. The history personalities like Manikya Vasagar, Kulasirayar, and Marakari worked as ministers. The royal secretariat was known as Elite Mandabam. Akabarivara Mudalikal were the personal attendants of the kings. The most respected officials were Maran, Ayan, Satan, Ganapati, Yanati, Satan, Tiratiran, Murthy, Ayan, and others. The titles of military commanders were Pallivelan, Parantakan, Pallivelan, Amaran, Aditan, and Jannavan, Tamilavel. Pandi Mandalam or Pandya Nadu consists of all nadus, which is named further divided into nadus and kurams. Nadu and kuram contain settlements like Managaram, Nagaram, Ur, and Kudi, which are inhabited by different social groups. A unique political division in Pandya Mandalam is Kulakil, an area under irrigation tank. For instance, Madurai is described as an inscription as a Mada Kulakil Madurai. The duty of the notar was to assess the qualities of land under cultivation, levy taxes. In surveying the lands, the official lots of 12 to 14 feet, 24 feet after the measurement. The lots donated the lands. Salabhogan lands was donated to Brahmins. The land assigned to instruments was called the Tatarkani. For carpenters, it was known as Tacha Maniyam. Bhatta Viruti is the land donated for Brahmin group for imparting education. An inscription from Manur, Tirunelveli district, writing provides an account of village administration. Cholas governors, Pandya kings of the period supported and promoted Tamil and Sanskrit. The great Saiva and Vaishnava saints contributed to the growth of Tamil literature. The period was marked by intense religious tussles. The rise of the Bhakti movement invited heterodox scholars for debate. Many instances of the defeat of Buddhism and Jainism in such debates are mentioned in Bhakti-related literature. Kings and local chiefs created Brahmin settlements called Mangalam or Chaturvedi Mangalam with irrigational facilities. Influential Brahmins had honorific titles as Brahmadi Rajan and Brahmarayan. The agency facilitated in Coil there was an agency established by Arab chieftain by name Malikul Islam Jamaluddin. This agency facilitated the availability of horses to Pandya kings. In the inscriptions, the traders were referred to as Nikam, Matur, Nan, Desi, Tisai, Airut, Ainur, Truvar, Manikya, Matar, and Padinan Vishatar. They founded the trade guilds in Kodumpallur and Periyakulam. The goods traded were spices, pearls, precious stones, horses, elephants, and birds. The busiest port under the Pandyas were the Kailpatnam, now in Thoothukudi district on the east coast. Gold coins were in circulation as the trade was carried in through the medium of gold. It was variously called Kasu, Palankasu, Andurana, Palankasu, Kanam, Kalan, and Pon. The title of gods are traders are Airatu, Ainuruvar, Udayar, and Sokanayagam, and that periodically held fairs called Tavalam in settlements called Teru, where the traders lived. The Pandya rulers created a number of irrigations. They were named after the members of the royal family. Some of them were called Vasudeva Perar, Veera Pandya Perar, Sri Vallabha Perar, and Parakirama Pandya Perar. The tanks were named Tirumaleri, Maraneri, Ailaneri, and Kadaneri on the other side of the rivers. Vaigai and Tamiraparani canals leading to the tanks for irrigation were built. The Saint and Maran inscription of Vaigai riverbed speaks of a sluice installed by him to distribute water from the river. The Sri Maran, Sri Vallabhan created a big dam which is now in use. Like Pallavas in northern districts, Pandyas introduced the irrigation technology in the southern districts of Tamil country. In building the banks of the tanks, the ancient architect used the thread to maintain the level. In the late time of the later Pandyas, around 1212, an official constructed a canal leading from river Pennai to the lands of the Tiruvannamalai temple in dry zone. Ramanathapuram also tanks were created in those areas. Such irrigation works were done by local administrative bodies. Local chief repairs are mostly undertaken by local bodies. Traders would also dug out tanks for irrigation. Irupai Kutti Kilavan, a local chief, built many tanks and repaired the tanks in disrepair. The actual landowning groups are described as Bhubi Puttirar. There were local sentences. They were referred to as Natu Makkal. The communal assembly of these groups are Chitramelli Periyanattar.